Hello and welcome to Foodie Friday. Today we're making a very old recipe, as in this recipe is a post-war recipe that a lot of people made because it was very economical, and you could make it using, we make it using bacon. So this is some unsmoked back bacon, and there were 10 rashers. It cost £1.79, and I've cooked all of it with, let me show you this bit because it's cooling down a bit. So I've cooked all of that with 2 onions and just a couple of cloves of garlic because I like garlic, but you don't have to. You could use leeks, you could use anything like that. If you're vegetarian, you can use a substitute of some sort. Then we are going to be using I'm using some vegetable suet. You can use beef suet, any sort of suet that you would use. Atora is a make that's available in the UK. And this is my steamer, which we're going to use later on. So we are going to make some suet pastry. Easy to remember, twice the quantity of flour to suet, or half the quantity of suet to flour. So if I have my spoon, which is what I use most of the time, if I measure out 8 spoonfuls, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost out of this bag, 8. Okay, so that's 8 spoonfuls of flour. Now I can get my suet, and I want 4 spoonfuls of suet. So I'm going to take that out of here so I can get my spoon in, and we want 4 spoonfuls of suet. So 1, 2, I think I'll just about get 4, 3, that's going to be my 4th one. Now I use suet for quite a bit, so I'm just going to empty the last little dregs of this out. So all you need to remember is half the quantity of suet to flour. So if you're using 8 spoonfuls or 8 ounces of flour, you want 4 ounces of suet. And that's how you remember the easy way of doing it. Okay, so I'm just literally just going to mix that in together. And then we need to add some water. So I am just going to grab some water, and we need just measuring it out. We need 180, so I don't know whether you can see it that way. When I tip it, it goes the other way. We want 180 mils, which is just over 1/4 of a pint. So, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it with a knife to start off with. So I'm just putting a well in the middle. And again, depending on the time of year, depending the amount of how glutinous the flour is, I'm going to put all of this in. How glutinous the flour is will depend whether you need a little bit more or a little bit less. Now I know that it's quite cool at the moment, so I'm just going to stick so that this doesn't make too much noise while I'm mixing this. I'm just a tip, if you're doing it on a surface that makes a bit of a noise, you come around this side, you can use a kitchen towel or tea towel, a cloth underneath, and then it stops it from. Now can you see how it's sort of absorbing quite well? So I might actually need just a tiny bit more. I might not, because obviously I'm doing it with my knife. but I think I'm just going to grab a tiny weeny little bit more. And that's why I said you just need to make sure that you've just got enough to just mix it in nicely. Okay, so you can see as I'm just mixing it, you want it to easy to roll out. So I'm just mixing this through, and I'm just going to add, I think that might be all right. No, I'm just going to add a little tiny more. You can feel whether it's picking it up or not. You don't want it soggy, but you want it to pick up all the flour quite well with the spoon, or with the knife rather, before you take it out and start rolling it, because if it's too dry it won't work. So I think that's probably about right. We'll try it. I can always add a little bit more if needs to be. And I'm just going to, let me take my towel off now because I don't need that. And I'm just going to pick this up now and see, yes, that's going to be fine. So I can now just roll this up, pick up all the, what you want to do is you want to be able to pick up all of the bits that are in the bottom of the bowl. So all of the suet that's in the bottom of the bowl, and you're making, as I say, a suet pastry. And this is the basis of our bacon and onion roly-poly. Now, some stories for you along the way. So, when I was a young child, so 60 odd years ago, we used to have, you couldn't buy onions readily in the greengrocers. You didn't have supermarkets in those days, but you didn't get very many onions. But we used to get the onion man, and he was a man who came round on a bicycle, and he had all of the onions all tied up, and used to buy a string of onions. Now he was let me think, when I was a child I thought that he was from France, because you used to get onions from France. So he used to be the French onion man, and he used to have a beret on, and, as I say, ride a bicycle. Now, whether he was from France, I don't know, because I was a young child at the time. So, you know, what you think is real doesn't always tend to be real. So if you had anybody, now I'm talking more of my UK people in this community, let me know about your stories, because it will be interesting to see how many other people used to have the onion man coming round when you were young. So the original recipe would have had parsley instead of onions, because onions weren't very readily available, but you used to be able to grow parsley in the garden. So you would have ham from your Sunday joint, and you used to be able to cut that up and put it with the parsley in this dish. So I'm just going to literally roll it out. Now I want it longer than I want it thinner, and again, it's the sort of thing that you don't necessarily have to. I'm just making sure that I've got enough flour underneath so it's not going to stick. So pick it up that way, make sure I've just got some flour on there. Then I can turn it, put it down that way, and just roll it out this way. So we get, so it comes long enough, which is what we want. going to have to do it this way. So as I say, you're rolling it out so that it's not too thick, but thick enough. It doesn't really matter on the thickness because we are going to steam it. So it's a steamed pudding. Now you can make this for steak and kidney pies and puddings and things, but this one was a recipe, as I say, that was very, very cheap and economical. Now, I don't know whether I'm going to be using all of this, so I'm just going to take some of it and see. I've tried to do it so that it's not too hot, because if it's too hot, what will happen is that you will end up with, yes, I am going to be able to get all of it in here. You can make it, no, I don't think I am actually. You don't want it to be too, so what I'm going to do is, sorry, I'm not finishing my sentences. So you don't want it to be too thick, because as you roll it, it'll all come out, and that's not what you want. So you want it to come up to the edges, but you want it a fairly thin layer. So I'm just going to see, I think I might be able to get it in. Yes, I am. I'm going to chance it. It might be just a little bit too much, but as I've always said, I always, whatever I'm doing, I will, sorry, you can't see me on this side because the pan's up the other way, but I'm just going to put it all in. And then we are going to roll it. So let me just take this knife. I want to try and get it as near right up to the edges as I can, right up to the top. So I'm moving it all across so that it's, and as you can see, I've been very generous with the filling. You don't have to be as generous as this. So I've used the whole pack of bacon, and you need to fry the bacon because you don't put it in raw. It's all cooked nicely, because then the steaming will just finish it off. Okay, so now what we need to do is, I'm going to take it from this way. So I'm literally just going to roll it up. It's going to be quite thick, and I could have rolled it the other way actually, couldn't I? But never mind, it doesn't matter. I'm trying to sort of roll it on top of itself, because what I don't want to do is, let me make sure that I can get it up this way, because it's still a little bit warm. So I'm taking it up this way. And can you see I've got too much in there really, but I'm going to just stuff it in and it'll be all right. So as I say, I was over generous. You can cut it down a bit, save some of the bacon and onion, and then use that for a quiche or something like that. Right, so I'm literally just moistening it with some water. Don't need to use milk or anything like that. So just so the edge sticks together. And then just on these edges, I'm tucking the pieces in. You probably can't see that end, but hopefully you'll see the other end. And I'm just squishing them together. So on this end, can you see this end? Yes, you can. Right, we need to just put water round the edge, tuck the filling in, and then we're just going to squeeze it. I'll put it in like that, so it's nice and tightly rolled and wrapped like that. Okay, I'm just going to wash my hands a second, so I have a bowl ready. And then what we need to do is we need to get some greaseproof paper. So greaseproof paper, baking paper, whatever you use, parchment paper, doesn't really matter. And you want a good amount because you want it to put it in. So what I need to do is to take this, and I'm going to pick it up carefully. Oh, it's very full. Right, and I'm just putting it on here. I can slide it across. Okay, so I've put it on here like this. Now I'm just going to bend it a little bit because otherwise it won't fit into my thing. Now what you need to do is you need to just roll it up a bit but allow enough for it to expand. So I'm just going to roll and pinch the edges this way, roll and pinch the edges that way, but keep enough on here as you roll it so that you've got something for it to expand into. So I'm just going to take that out to there, and I'm going to bring the saucepan. So you want a saucepan that is full of water to there. You then put a steamer. If you haven't got a steamer, use a colander, and we're going to put that in on top like that. And put it that way so I can then take it out. And then we're going to put this inside. Now that's why I said about rolling it so that it just comes into. I'm going to bend it so that it's going to come into a bit of a sausage, because otherwise it won't fit into my around a bit. It won't fit into my steamer. So what I need to do now is to make sure that this, when it's tied up, is sealed. I can put that in that way. But is also, I don't really need that on there, do I? Take that bit off, it's a bit long. So seal this bit up tightly, turn it round, put it in. But you need to leave, can you see how I'm leaving like a pocket? Because you want, it's going to grow and expand as it cooks. Okay, so once it's sealed, you then need to put the lid on the pan like that. Now I will go back in and sort it out, it's difficult under the lights. And then you need to steam it on a low heat, so it's literally just simmering for an hour and a half. So it's an idea to do it, if it's a really cold day, do it in a room that you want to heat anyway, and you just have it on a very low heat. So I'll be back when it's cooked. So I'm back now, and you can see exactly how much it's grown. It's been on for just under 2 hours, and so it's absolutely perfect. I will just put my plate on here, and then I can lift it out and put it in like that, and you can see just how big it comes out. Now that will feed 6-8 people quite easily. Very rich. You just need to do it with a little bit of gravy and stuff. Now I am going to open it up because I am going to have some for my supper tonight. As always, I will freeze quite a bit of it, but let me just open it up. It's very light. Let me just see if I can take it down that way. just trying to take a piece out of the middle so you can see how lovely it is. Right, I'm going to have to go and get a little plate. I think I have to get a spoon to get it out from here. Let's just see if I can get it. Get the plate. There we go. Right, you can see how big it is, but that's what it looks like. Absolutely lovely with the bacon. Have it with gravy, have it with a sauce, vegetables and things. It makes a really delicious dish and is so economical. So I hope you enjoyed that one. As always, please stay safe and well. Please be kind and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.